Hi. Well, hello, welcome to Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'm grateful to have had you here. It's a wonderful Friday, and consistently, like I always do, I'm grateful. So, over here, we'll give you the best of all the analysis that you've been looking for on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on your notification, and in there, after you turn notification, make sure you do choose all. It is imperative that you do that so that you are quick first to get all the news. Over here we give you back to back updates across all the clubs. Yes, we are specific with some clubs, but every update across all the clubs, you get it here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you very much for joining me here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It is our update on the January transfer window. There's a lot of breaking news in there. There's a story about Jadon Sancho and the fact that he is on his way out. There is extra movement to Trevor Chalobah and FC Bayern Munich in there as well. We are going to preview the Chelsea FA Cup game against Preston United. It's a game that you need to get all the analysis here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Apart from that, there are a host of other conversations that you also need to get. What are the details of Chelsea's new sponsorship deal with BingX, the cryptocurrency company? What are the details? How much are Chelsea getting if you add that to what Infinite Athletics is giving to Chelsea? How does it compare to the conversation about FFP and then the financial fair play conversation? In here, we'll talk about that. There is a reason why Chelsea are most likely to go in for a centre back ahead of a striker. I'll tell you about that also in this conversation on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But even before we get to all of that conversation, let us go on and then speak about the first one about Manchester United. Maybe about Manchester United, first about the transfer conversation. I've seen a lot of people who have said in recent times that since the Ineos group have taken over at Manchester United, and then the Glazers are somewhat giving away some power. Mind you, it's 25%, about 18% of the shares of the Class B shares of the Glazers. It's enough for the Ineos to make very good sporting decision, and that's exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has bought. It looked as if he sent the best proposal that the Glazers thought that was the best for them and for the club as well. I consistently said over here when that discussion came up that I do not see how the Glazers are going to let go of Manchester United just like that. It is, you see, when people want to sell their assets, they sell them if they are in dire need or something, or when they are under duress or something. In the case of Chelsea, Roman Abramovich was under duress. He was under sanctions, and he ought to have let it go. If he didn't let it go, Chelsea would have gone down the drain, and he decided to let it go by selling it. This time, United were not in any precarious situation. They were okay at the point where they believed that they could go ahead and still own their club even if nobody comes in to buy it. And that's the most valuable, one of the most valuable clubs not owned by a tradition in Europe. So it's a great stuff, and they didn't sell it. They've just brought in extra cash injection. They've brought in extra know-how, somebody to handle the part of the game that maybe they are just not the best at, and that's exactly what they are doing in that Manchester United. And then Ineos Group are in. You see, you look at the work that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and then and his team are doing at OGC Nice, and from there you can draw some meaningful conclusion that they are not far off doing a good job at Manchester United. Trust me. You look at what they are doing at OGC Nice. You look at the job Farioli is doing at OGC Nice. The kind of pure, blissful, attacking football for a coach of his caliber. And the fact that they've been patient for him to build and mold this machine. You can tell why he wants to get this job done, and the fact that these Ineos people can get a job done, and they have the technical know-how to get to the end of Manchester United. So yes, one of the biggest issues of Manchester United in recent times has been the fact that their coaches have failed to deliver. I mean, at least the standard that they wanted these coaches to deliver. Post Sir Alex Ferguson has been nothing to write home about. From Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to David Moyes to Louis van Gaal to Jose Mourinho to Ralf Rangnick and then Erik ten Hag now. Still, nothing seems to be working. In the last press conference Erik ten Hag was in, he actually all but alluded to the fact that last season was just a fluke, and then they punched above their weight last season. They felt that they are getting a reality check this term, and that it is more difficult for them to meet the standard that they set for themselves last season. So That is why they are where they are now. And you can understand where he is speaking from as a manager, because some of us they say that qualificating the Champions League may just paper over the cracks for Manchester United, and that's your real job to do in terms of recruitment and the sporting direction. But hey, that's why the Ineos group are in. Already, I'm seeing people call the name of Michel, the coach of Girona, and they are saying that teams like Newcastle United and Manchester United should ditch their managers and go for them. Maybe people do not follow the job that Michel has been doing at Girona, or people have not been following Girona. Michel has been there for quite a long time, and Girona have been patient to him. They've given him time to mold this machine. I know this business of football is results oriented and it is frail, and when you are not getting results, they sack you. But hey, people have also come to understand that sometimes you need to be patient and go away from the status quo and believe that the managers that you put your trust in and you give money to can get a job done. And that's exactly what Girona are reaping the results of their job in there for themselves. So yesterday, 2 days ago, Victor Roque played his first game for FC Barcelona. A lot of people are saying that it is not what they expected to get from him. I told you about Victor Roque. He's an excellent player, young chap, has a very high ceiling. In terms of hold-up play and then the tenacity of a striker, he is the kind of striker that you would believe that maybe he is close to the next Luis Suarez for Barcelona. And then they believe that that's a brilliant job that they can do. But you see, whilst people are just saying that Victor Roque did not play well, he had a shambolic game, that's not the debut that he won. I want you to look at the game in the context of what Las Palmas did. Las Palmas played a brilliant run of game. And you see, now in the modern game, teams that counter press, teams that press very high and wide, teams that are aggressive, teams that play the very high line are those that concede less goals, right? Yes, Barcelona went ahead to get their job done. They concede less goals. And it's the reason why every team across Europe wants pacey, aggressive, combative, dwelling center backs that will push high and wide. And yes, whilst there are spaces in behind for them, it is incredibly difficult for teams to defend their boxes. This is just one part of the game where we don't talk about a lot. And that's why for me, I consistently say that, yes, sometimes you need a mix of a box defender and then somebody like, so when essentially the box defender is one that will put their body on the line, that will be rugged in the box and everything and do the dirty job. But you also want to be more proactive. That is why it's important to have a ball playing center back, because you want to even reduce the number of high quality chances that are being created against you. And that's why you need very good controllers of the ball, even in your defense. And these same guys are supposed to also be aggressive, combative, and they're also supposed to have a lot of pace. It's a large conversation, right? And in the first half, when I saw the game that Las Palmas played, with the scores that they were having, controlling the game, Xavi was being outcoached in the first half. He was outcoached in the first half. Sometimes you can understand when Barcelona fans say, hey, we told you Xavi is not good enough. But it's the same Xavi that won the Spanish La Liga. It's the same Xavi that seems to be building things. Mind you, Barcelona are not in the place that you expect them to be. So do not expect that, yes, they just go ahead and thrash everybody left, right, center. They don't even have the characters to turn games on its head, unlike teams like Real Madrid. So it was a good one. Victor Roque did came in. He showed the signs that I personally scouted him for. The hold-up play, the ball striking ability, the fact that he just needs time to fit into the Spanish La Liga. He just needs time. I can assure you sitting here that Victor Roque is going to come good at Barcelona. It is no news. It is nothing to get worried about if you're a Barcelona fan and you're listening to me today. He's a player that's good enough to wear the Blaugrana jersey and then stay in there and get a job done. And that's exactly what Victor Roque is, and that's why Barcelona bought him. And I believe strongly that he's going to get the job done for FC Barcelona in there. But hey, kudos to Las Palmas. They played some brilliant football in the first half. I sat by my TV and I was almost starstruck because, hey, I had not followed Las Palmas' job for a while now. But yesterday was the day I told myself I need to start watching Las Palmas again, and so that I can see exactly what's being done over there in the Canary Island in that part of Spain. And it's an important team, the Spanish La Liga in there. So let's get straight into the transfer conversation. Mind you, we'll still be previewing Chelsea's game against Preston in the Emirates FA Cup. It's important, so stick around. But by way of update from the Chelsea camp, first of all, Kani Chukwuemeka is back. Kani Chukwuemeka He is back and back and back and back for good. If you have missed the connector, you have it now in the team. I have missed Kani Chukwuemeka. He is a player. So on those of you who only know me on Facebook, on in my regular job as a media man with multimedia and Isha, our host usually calls me Chukwuemeka because of my fondness for Kani Chukwuemeka. I've watched Chukwuemeka just a few times, and we're just short clips. And I was like, this boy is just, the silky touch. I mean, he's not Ozil, but that silky touch that Ozil used to have in between the lines, then he just touches the ball and it sticks and he turns around and connects people. And he was so brilliant in those few games that I saw him in preseason, and I saw him against in the West Ham game. I saw he scored that brilliant goal, receiving the ball in between the lines. When he was doing that job as 2 inside 10s or 8 with Enzo Fernandez, it was brilliant. When Fernandez was fit and he was fit and all of that, and I kept on telling myself, this boy is just a brilliant connector and he's going to go far. So Kani is back for Chelsea. Benjamin Chilwell is also back for Chelsea. I know. I don't know if I still trust Benjamin Chilwell's durability as a player. I don't know if I trust him to stay fit for long. Mind you, Chelsea are without a recognizable left back. Marco Creia is injured. Benjamin Chilwell just returned from injury. We know that for a while now. It has been Levi Cole has been playing for the club in that area. So, but he returning from injury, he's one of the captains. Apart from the footballing job that he'll do, he's one of the players that will spread the boys on. He's a top gun. He has experience at age 26. He has seen a lot more in there, and then he's going to be very important for the team, even for the young players who are in there. And of course, once he steps on the pitch, he's going to be one of the very few recognizable left backs. If he's getting to play in that game, when there is Levi Cole who can also slot at left centre back, then there's going to be a lot of variations. I know people want to see Levi Cole at left CB in the Enzo Fernandez also did train fully. Moise Caicedo is back into the team. Andre Santos is back into the team. Mauricio Pochettino today is going to have a press conference, and in there, there are a lot of things that we know that he's going to speak about. It's Conor Gallagher's issue. Conor is not going to lead Chelsea this year. I told you, he's the big energy man. He's the connector for the team, and he's not going to lead Chelsea. The big aggressor, the only profile that we have in that regard. I know that in the long-term future of Conor Gallagher isn't that he's going to be a Chelsea starter, but he's a top player, and I think that he's going to be in there, be playing for Chelsea and what's not, as you have it there. So let's go straight into the preview of the game against Preston. 2 things that I want to look at in the game against Preston. First of all, Mauricio Pochettino will have the chance to play French players, right? So players that have tried to play. It's the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Chelsea know that if there is any chance at silverware, it's the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. In this next round of games, there's a possibility that by the time the round of games is done, Chelsea will be going as far as very close to the FA Cup, and they also would have booked a berth in the semi-final with Liverpool, or in the final in the FA Cup, and it's important, right? So in the Carabao Cup, and Chelsea knows that they can go ahead and win the Carabao Cup. It's a very good chance at silverware for the team. Mauricio Pochettino is excellent to cup games, and he will prep his team with that. Preston will just be like the first game Chelsea played in the Carabao Cup 3rd round when Luton Town came to the Stamford Bridge. They'll try and mix it up. And I've seen that with a lot of teams, a lot of small teams recently, when they come to play against Chelsea. They mix it up. Sometimes they press very high, sometimes they sit low, sometimes even in a mid-block. They make it a little bit difficult for you to break them down. Then they come into a very low block. Then they make sure that they turn you over with the counter-attacks. And that's the only part of the game I'm personally worried about with counter-attacks, the defensive positioning of these players. Especially now that Leslie Gochukwu is out and Moise Caicedo is also going to play after a long time playing. The pace of our centre-backs is something that I worry about. Thiago Silva, Benoit Bellachile, Levi Cole, Axel de Sassi. I know the fast and pacey players. I remember yesterday I spoke about Wesley Fofana, and people consistently told me that, hey, do you think that Wesley Fofana can stay even fit going forward? Yes, he has had 2 career-threatening injuries, but hey, I never say never, especially on stuff like this. Footballers always have the chance to come back if they put their mind to it and they take good care of themselves. So West can come back and can slot into that Chelsea backline on the right side, and the left side are going to have a good mix of it. But then in the game against Preston, I expect Chelsea to go ahead and win. It is not negotiable. Tomorrow I'll bring you the reaction after the game. but Chelsea ought to make sure that going into the game against Preston, they do enough to get them win. They are going to be faced by a team that mixes it up, sometimes presses from the back. But hey, I've been impressed by the calmness and composure of Deji Petrovic in post. So even if a team is pressing, I don't have a lot of worry. And we also have very good players as centre backs in the first line to receive under pressure and then play forward. So I think that Chelsea are well placed to get a job done. Our base, they don't have to underestimate Preston Town because it's going to be a long game, long journey into the FA Cup, and it just began. So you need to take it game by game, step by step. On the horizon, there's Fulham also, and there's Liverpool, and back to back. Chelsea may be playing Liverpool back to back in subsequent games. So it's an exciting run of games for Chelsea, and they need to be in that direction to get their job done. What did I forget? Tomorrow I'll bring you the preview of the Italian Serie A games. You know I love the Italian Serie A. There's updates and a lot of transfer movements in there. Chelsea would rather want a centre back because of what I told you. Centre backs are not pacey. They lack a lot of pace. They want to inject that. There may be possibility of a left back also for Chelsea. Manchester United need attackers. I don't know why they are looking at Timo Werner, but Werner isn't the guy. They believe that somebody like Thomas Muller is experienced and he was in the team. He can add a lot more to the Bayern München team, the Manchester United team. In there, there is also a make mention of some top players that are going to go around. The biggest conversation, however, in the transfer conversation is that of Kylian Mbappe. Yesterday, Jules Laurent, who is close to Kylian Mbappe, has said that Mbappe really likes the Liverpool project, and he may in June he is free. Will Real Madrid get him for free? Will Mbappe opt for either of Liverpool or Chelsea aside of Real Madrid? Where do you stand? Where do you think Mbappe should go? What's assured is that for Mbappe, he is not going to cause any stir. He's not going to cause any issues for Paris Saint-Germain and Nasser El Khelaïfi. He will focus on the football until his contract runs out to see if they can extend. If they're unable to extend, then there is Real Madrid, there is Liverpool, there may be possibly Manchester United, and even Chelsea on the horizon. Which of these teams can sell a very good project to Kylian Mbappe? I am thinking that Madrid will be his first choice. From Liverpool are lurking. Jurgen Klopp, do not underestimate his convincing ability with players. He has done it several times. So yeah, guys, let's drop the curtain here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I am grateful to have had it here consistently. It's been back to back updates, and this is the one on Friday. I will see you, God willing, tomorrow. Take care. Adios. Bye.